Oops. Sorry. Okay. I'm just going to pin myself. We'll be good to go. All right. So welcome everyone to tonight's free webinar on how to get dietetics experience. My name is Jenny Westerkamp. I am the founder of All Access Dietetics. I put on these free events and trainings every month, almost every week, actually, in all different sorts of areas. But tonight we're talking about getting experience and how to just kind of get your feet wet in the field, whether it's even, before you get into a dietetics program or you're already in one and you want to just keep getting experience so that you're ready for your career. Or even if you're in your, starting your career and you're just wanting some strategies on how to get into a different area of the field or a new job, all of these topics that we'll talk about tonight will be applicable to you. So thanks to those live that are here and to those listening for taking time out to just invest in yourself, your career, and I hope you get a lot out of it. For those live tonight, if you do want to ask any questions, feel free. I have the chat box open and I'll be monitoring that as I go along. So feel free to ask specific questions. You don't have to wait until the end of the training. All right, so here's the problem. The problem that I kind of hear from a lot of future dietitians is you know that it's important to get dietetics experience in the process of becoming a dietitian, but you don't know what to do or how to do it in order to stand out. I know on the dietitian side, as a dietitian, having been in sports nutrition, I've worked in sports nutrition, I've worked in corporate wellness, in private practice. I know that a lot of students would reach out to me, and many dietitians experience this, where it's just hard to have the time to work with a student or to, hire a student, whatever it is. But the ones that would get my attention would be the ones that really knew how to communicate, how to pitch themselves, how to stand out, and really treat it like a job interview, even though, okay, yeah, you just want to try to get experience or shadow or volunteer for someone. You want to treat it like you're trying to get a job, and you have to stand out because there's lots of other future dietitians that are doing the same thing to these dietitians who are very busy, and you want to have strategy in order to get that yes, or get them to agree to meet with you or to give you experience. So, and that goes the same if it's not just like a private practice or some dietitian on their own, even for companies as well. A quick introduction. So since 2010, All Access Dietetics, we have coaches. We have an admissions coaching program, and we have worked with over 2,200 applicants through this admissions coaching program. We just relaunched it, renamed it. If you've been with us for a while, it was called Get Matched Coaching, but now that the match process is no longer as popular, we changed the name to Dietetics Admissions, and we made the coaching more custom. And so we've been doing this since 2010, and we really understand how applicants can get that right experience, tell their unique story, and stand out in the admissions process. So while it is really good to get experience for just your own professional development, the other good reason is to be more competitive for dietetics programs that you're applying to, or even, dietetics jobs that you're applying to. So it all helps to care about your resume, to care about the types of skills that you're gaining through these experiences so that you can tell your story and, do that in a really strategic way. The first step in the admissions process that we always say with our coaching clients is we need to assess where they're at currently, assess their current skills and experience, and then strategically fill any gaps that would prevent you from getting into your top choice program or your top choice job. And so this is the first thing we do. And with coaching clients, whether they're starting, 2 years in advance of their deadline, or even 6 months in advance of their deadline for their program applications. But we want to be really like, okay, what do you need? How do you need to rework your schedule, your obligations, your jobs, all your volunteer activities, so that you're spending your time doing the best possible things that are going to make you stand out the most and develop the right skills that directors are looking for and that we think you would benefit from just being in this field and being a future dietitian. I'm going to get into all that today, the types of experiences you should get, the skills, what ways that you can work around, or like ways that you can manage all of that on top of everything else you're doing. All right, let's get into it. So how to get dietetics experience. I have put I think it's 6 steps here of the strategy, and we'll include the slides when we send the recording. So you don't have to worry about writing this all down, but let's get into it. So the first one is to understand first all of the places that dietitians work. There are many different areas of the field, and you don't have to just think about clinical food service community, which is what most of your education or training will be around. You can think of a lot of different other areas. So I listed some: healthcare, and then industry, meaning like food companies or food labeling companies or marketing firms, and then community nutrition, public health, entrepreneurship, so private practice, or just dietitians that own their own business. For example, I'm a dietitian entrepreneur. I do have a group private practice, but I also have this business, so it doesn't have to be just private practice. I know many dietitians have like dietitian virtual assistant businesses, or they work with food brands. So lots of different roles within that bucket. And then we have research, like clinical research, or working for food companies that are doing research, or hospitals. Food service management in all sorts of different areas, like college campuses, prisons even have food service managers. There's companies like Sodexo and Aramark that hire a lot of food service management dietitians, and many, many more. And so we put together this ebook, and I'll drop it in the comments here now, but it is the Dietitian Dream Jobs ebook that has 75 different job titles that you could have as a dietitian, in both conventional and unconventional type roles. And I'm going to drop that here. So allaccessdietetics.com/dietitian dream jobs. And you can grab that, and that could be your action step in terms of just understanding all the different places that dietitians work. And then that will help to set the stage for, okay, what am I interested in? What would be maybe interesting areas to get experience in? The second step of this strategy of how to get dietetics experience is to focus on the big 3 experiences. The big 3 that I have been saying since probably 2010 or 2009 when the business launched. But I think that there's 3 key experiences that every future dietitian should have. Number 1 is foundational. Number 2 is leadership. Number 3 is goal related. So I'm going to break those down. Number 1, foundational. Foundational experience is when you think of the rotations or the competencies of a dietetic internship or supervised practice, you think that they kind of break down into clinical, food service, and community. So being able to get experience in one of those areas that is similar to your supervised practice is really important. I suggest everyone gets that, and that would be key to have it be under a dietitian. So that's what I consider foundational experience, something that you'll be able to tie to your readiness for your supervised practice experience. Number 2 is leadership experience. Number 1 skill that every director wants to see in an application is leadership. This can happen in a lot of different ways. You don't have to be president of a club, but that counts. You could be a manager or a supervisor of a job. It doesn't have to be dietetics related, just anything where you're maybe training people, managing people, or leading someone in an initiative of some kind. And that's really big because there's so many other skills that fall under the umbrella of being a leader. And that's really important to have. So even if it's not a position, it could be an initiative or a one-time thing. For example, you decide to host a food drive on your campus, and you get people together and you take it from start to finish. You get your volunteers, you coordinate with the food bank, you have the food drive, you advertise, promote it, and then you're able to show a result at the end of your leadership experience. That is really important to have that story that you could tell, and then be able to use that in your application and show all the different skills that come with that, like taking initiative, teamwork, communication, marketing, working well under pressure, time management, all of those things can be shown through a leadership experience. And that's why it's the number one thing that directors look for. And they want people who can be leaders in the internship and leaders in the field. So you don't necessarily have to, again, be president or manager, have that role, but you want to have an experience that uses your leadership skills. And it's something that you do, not that you're like on a leadership team and it's a group effort. You're trying to find something that you specifically do from start to finish. And you're like that sole person that's responsible for that. Okay, so that's foundational leadership. And then finally, goal-related experience. So goal-related experience, and all of these experiences really are coming from the fact that when you go to write your personal statement in your applications, like later, and this could be years from now, months from now, you will want to be able to talk about your future goals, but have an experience in that future goal. So for example, you might be going to write your personal statement and you might say, my short-term goal is to work for a private practice, and my long-term goal is to work for a professional sports team. If you don't have experience in either one of those areas, then it's going to be hard for that to be like a strong argument. You want to be able to show that you had this experience, it lit you up so much, you were so excited about it, you got that exposure, and it's really confirmed for you that those are your goals. I find it to be a hard read to say, yeah, my goals are to work in private practice and in sports nutrition, but then not have any experience in either of those areas. In that case, if we did have a client that had that, we would say, let's change your goals to be around something that you've gotten experience in. And that's something that you'd really actually find, exciting, that you would want to write about. But that is a key thing to think about years ahead or months ahead of your deadline, to make sure that you have something like that so that you can then back it up when you go to talk about your goals in the personal statement or in the interview. Those are the big three, and they come from the fact that these are the things that really sell you and help you stand out, because not everyone has all three of these. And so this is why I've chosen those big three. Here are some bonus experiences that you can think about getting. One would be professional involvement. That would be with a local dietetics group. It would be with your with the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, with Aspen. That's another one if you're interested in clinical, and other local groups in your community. Anything that would, I would say, like either professional or community involvement would fall into that, to show just that you're well-rounded and you have those interests. Also getting the DTR, or the DTR being your diet tech registered, or the NBC HWC credential, which is the health coaching, the National Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach credential. So those would be great experiences to add, depending on what your interests are. And then you can also create experiences. So if you think, well, I can't find a leadership role, or, my club already chose their president for the year. That happened to me actually when I was in college and I was going into my senior year, and I realized I needed leadership experience. And so I just decided I would start a club on my own. I started a club on campus, made my friends the executive committee for it, and I created the leadership experience. Of course, I think I have had that entrepreneurial spirit for a very long time now. And so that did drive me to do it. But I hope I can maybe plant the seed for you that you don't have to be, an entrepreneur of any kind to go out there and try to create an opportunity for yourself. And that might be, just researching those things, seeing if they're what the process is to create a club on your campus, or to start something new in your community that you could create and be a part of and be in charge of. And then finally, the other bonus to think about when you're gathering your experiences is aligning experiences with the programs that you're applying to. This isn't like always necessary, because it just depends on the programs. But let's say, for example, you wanted to go to a program that had an eating disorder emphasis, then it would be really wise that you would get experience in that area, and also wise that you might even have your goals be in that area of eating disorders, in which case you would have covered that experience in number 3 of the big 3. But you can think through, if there's other types of experiences that the program really, you think the program would like because of their emphasis or their flavor. You could think if they're in a teaching hospital, they might really value clinical experience or clinical exposure, or if they're an entrepreneur focused distance internship, for example, then they might really value entrepreneurship exposure. Not that you have to be one, but maybe that you got experience with an entrepreneur. So that would be another way to like line yourself up with the program and be a better sell for that program. Okay. I will make a note here because I do say, okay, here's the big three. Here's the ones I think you should be trying to get. But I don't want to disqualify non-dietetics experience because it is still very, very valuable. The reason being is there's transferable skills, meaning that you are still building very good skills that can transfer over to the skill of becoming a great dietitian. Leadership, communication, teamwork, time management, organization, critical thinking, all of those things can happen in other non-dietetics related experiences that you can still show on your resume, on your personal statement in your interview to market yourself as a future dietitian. So I don't disqualify that at all. I would just say that I still really want you to have exposure to an experience with a dietitian. That's kind of like the bare minimum. But then you can certainly use all of your other skills or maybe a past career to your advantage for sure. I even think too, a lot of people, like we've worked with a lot of different types of people in our admissions coaching, and even like moms or parents, moms, dads, parents that can bring that skill set to their personal statement or interview to show how they've been able to manage their family and their education at the same time. Shows a lot of transferable skills. So we'll make sure to really promote that and sell that through their application. The second note I want to make on non-dietetics experience is when I was coaching, I don't coach anymore. We have 8 coaches now who coach, but when I was coaching students in admissions coaching before this, years ago, I remember having to go through, okay, tell me what you're doing right now. Like, what are your jobs? What are your roles? How many hours? How long have you been there? And I would assess, is it worth staying in this current role? And they could tell me like, yes, it pays me really well, or I get insurance through this, or, if there's specific reasons that it would make sense to stay, totally fine. But if they're flexible on it, then I would start to assess, like, is it important that you keep getting 3 or 4 more months of this exact role? Or have you kind of had enough here to where it would make more sense for you to spend time in this area or get experience doing this to really round out your resume and fill any of those gaps that we were talking about with like the big 3 or other ways to just round out your resume. So you want to think too, like assess what you're currently doing and then decide if it's worth staying and continuing to do that or getting something new to have a more diverse background. And then number 3 is trying to increase your responsibility and impact. So let's say I had someone that didn't want to leave their current job, or they really liked it and they did feel like they were getting good skills and good experience. Totally fine. I would say I would still challenge them to try to find opportunities to increase their responsibility. So that'd be through a promotion or through additional tasks that their manager would give them or projects, and try to increase their impact. So anytime you're in an experience, and this is just a rule in general, if you have an experience and you want to get the most out of it, it would be, how can I go above and beyond in my role? And also, how can I create more impact in my role beyond what the job description says? I think that's a great skill to practice as a future dietitian, because that's something that you're going to need to continue to do in your career to continue to show your worth, your value to an organization, and really stretch yourself and grow professionally. An example of that I've seen is if someone maybe started as a nutrition assistant and they were taking menu orders, and then they moved up to supervisor, shift supervisor, and then maybe they got a position where they had to manage tray line, if this is like a kind of a clinical world type increase in responsibility. Or if maybe you're working for a private practice, maybe you start just helping them do handouts, and then from there, You get to get involved more in the insurance and the billing part of their practice. And then from there, maybe you get into marketing or some other project or helping them build their social media. So you're always looking for ways to get the most out of every experience. And you might need to ask, you will need to ask, and you will need to take the initiative there to do that. But then that's where you can show more skills when you go to talk about that experience later on. And you, of course, gain those skills in general, which will be helpful. All right, the third step in this process is to develop your pitch. This is where I've gotten so many emails from dietetic students, and all they'll say is, "Hi, Jenny, found you through All Access Dietetics. I saw that you work in sports nutrition. Are you looking for interns?" So great that this person knew what I did. They obviously researched and knew my background. So that's a positive, because then there's people that won't even say that. They'll just say, "Hi, do you take interns? Do you work with students?" That's really a waste of a first impression, and first impressions are really important. But for example, in that first example I said, they didn't really pitch themselves. They just asked for something. And I think it's important to pitch yourself, show what you can contribute, and share more about yourself, so that that's like a really strong first impression. And it's something that not a lot of people do. I'm like, okay, so everyone listening here, I want you to develop your pitch. And the pitch, the way you can structure it, is talking about your past, your present, and then your future. So here's a pitch. If I was an RD to be, let's see. So I say, "Hello, hello, dietitian Anna." I'd probably say something like, "I hope this email finds you well. And I was just researching, and really was impressed by your business." So like a little something at the beginning there. "My name is Jenny Westerkamp. I have been a dietetics major at University of Illinois. I previously have gained experience in research and private practice, and in helping a sports dietitian, as well as getting involved on my campus with being president of the food bank organization. I currently am working in my school's cafeteria, getting food service management experience, but I'm really looking for more experience in private practice. My future goals are to one day start my own business and be able to help people of all different specialties or all different problems or populations, and build out a group practice someday. I'd love the opportunity to work for you, and I know that I can bring a lot of creativity and problem solving and critical thinking to your organization." So that's the pitch. I talked about my past, what I've already done, my present, what I'm currently doing, and what I'm looking for, and then my future goals and how that clearly aligns with what they're doing. So that's the pitch that you'd want to write. And then you could add your resume or a link to your LinkedIn profile as like additional information. That stands out. That is telling the dietitian you're not wasting their time by having them go Google you or look up your LinkedIn profile themselves. They're not having to reply back like, "Can you send me your resume, or can you tell me more about why you want to work for me?" You're already giving that to them. And that really shows a lot. And that's what I would suggest that you do. So just put it in a template of past, present, and future, covering all those things. The other bonuses here in your pitch are to research the dietitian and their organization. Try to find something that's a connecting factor. If maybe they went to your same college or internship, or the internship that you're interested in, or just anything that you can find that you think is interesting that shows that you researched them. Then you want to be a go-giver. So the phrase like go-getter, which is good too. You're going out there getting experiences. You also want to be a go-giver and lead with value. So you want to be like, ask them or present how you can help them, versus, "Hey, can I shadow you?" which is really just you asking for their time. Of course you are asking for their time, but you want to lead with giving value first. And then align your goals with theirs. So show how it's a perfect fit. This works somewhat more well or better with entrepreneur or business owner dietitians, because they obviously have a lot of goals to grow their business and that you can tie into. But if even they work for a organization, you might be able to talk more about like how you can make their job easier, save them time, help with projects on the back burner, things that would help just improve process, like a process or processes overall in their job. All right, so that would be the third step, which is developing your pitch. And don't just email, hey, do you take interns? Thanks. All right, number 4 is to find your contacts. So now we've figured out, okay, here's all the different areas of dietetics I could be getting experience in. Here's the ones I should probably focus on in terms of foundational leadership, goal area type experiences. Then I'm figuring out, what am I going to say to these people? And how do I pitch myself? And it's kind of at the same time, but then number 4 is how you find your contacts. So how do we find the people that we're going to reach out to? Luckily with social media, it's easier than ever to find people's contact information. We have LinkedIn. LinkedIn, you can get a free premium trial, which allows you to be able to send in-mail to contacts, which is really great because it means the in-mail will come directly to their inbox as opposed to just in their LinkedIn messaging, which some people don't always check. And so that is a great thing to do for 30 days to like go through as many contacts as you can to try to find people to reach out to and pitch. And then number 2 would be Instagram. DMing people on Instagram is another great idea. I get hit up in my DMs all the time. With that, again, I would say people still do not pitch themselves through DMs. I think you still need to send a proper pitch in a DM. Don't make it super short. So that would be my advice there. And then number 3 is professional and personal networks. So thinking like your advisor, all of your teachers, sending an email to every single one of them individually, and pitching yourself and what you're trying to do. You're trying to get experience and see what they come back with and within their network. And your personal network, like extended family, friends, just people like that, personally that might have connections within certain areas. I know like for me, I had an aunt that worked in long-term care and was able to get me an internship shadowing dietitians in long-term care. So those things really can come in handy too. The bonus here for ways to find contacts, there's Facebook groups that exist that would be good to post in to pitch yourself, write your pitch email in the Facebook group and say what you're looking for. And there's a couple groups. One is called the Unconventional RD Facebook group. And then there's so many others, but thinking whatever your specialty is, if you just type that in, like oncology dietitians in Facebook, like searching in Facebook groups, I'm sure you'll find them there. There's also, I didn't put this on here, but dietetic practice groups are a great place to go as well. Even to their own dietetic practice group website, there's going to be a contact for the general mailbox as well as the executive board that will be great contacts that might know people within that group or can help post your message to the group. PRD.org is a great website for this. They have listings of dietitians that are willing to work with students. And then the Find a Preceptor database on the Academy's website is great for finding preceptor or for finding dietitians who are willing to work with students or want to use their time to mentor and give experience to students. All right, now let's say you've pitched, you found your contacts, you pitched them, now you're getting replies back. Hey, your background sounds great. I would like to interview you, or let's get on a phone call and talk about it. Okay, you better rock the interview. No, don't blow this opportunity. I'm just kidding, but you want to do a good job on that because this is how they're going to make that final decision on whether or not they give you this great experience. So here are 3 different tips on the interview. Number 1 is the STAR method. The STAR method we teach to everyone in our dietetics admissions. It's not something that we trademarked. It's a very well-known interview strategy, but people still don't know about it, which is why I always talk about it. The STAR method is how you talk about your experience, your past experience in a really concrete way. So STAR stands for situation, task, action, and results. Situation, task, action, results. You want to be able to give examples of your skills using the STAR method. So S is situation. So the situation, if the question was, how have you been a leader? Like, how have you used your leadership skills so far? Well, the situation, when I was going into my senior year of college, I decided that I wanted to start an organization, found an organization on my campus because there wasn't one for food banks. And I thought it was really important to support like food insecurity in the community that my college was in. My task, so that meant that I recruited people to become executives. I registered the organization and I created 4 different events that would support the food bank, including a volunteer day, a food drive, a fundraiser, and another dinner that was sponsored that supported the food bank. Action. When I was doing all these things, I was able to use, and this would be where your skills come in, I was able to use a lot of my organization skills because I was taking 17 hours the same semester that I started this. So I was able to just stay really organized with shared Google Sheets. I was able to delegate really effectively to all of my executive committee so that we were able to put on all of these events really successfully. Our results. So as a result, we were able to raise $4,000 for the food bank, and we were featured in the community's newspaper. And we did a food drive where we were able to donate 100 pounds of food to the food bank. And that's it. So that is saying something about your leadership instead of saying, I'm a great leader, I know how to work well with others and tell them what to do for a common mission. No, you're going to actually give the story in the STAR method. So if someone's asking you about a skill or an experience or something from your past, you always want to use the STAR method. And you can Google the STAR method and get more examples on that. The next is employer communication. So that person that's going to be hiring you or allowing you to do an internship or volunteer, you want to have really good communication. So if they every email that you send, like your pitch email, needs to be professionally done, grammatically correct, check it for spelling. You want to be able to follow up with them to confirm the day before your call, just so that's clear, and then have a really strong follow-up after of saying thank you and explaining why you're still really excited about the opportunity and any other follow-up information that came from the conversation. And finally, attention to detail, where it is really about the impression that you're making virtually, most likely, or I guess through the interview itself, but you want to treat this really seriously so that you give yourself the best opportunity. You don't know how many other people they're interviewing. You don't know, how competitive it is to get their time and how much of an opportunity this is. So you want to just pay attention to every detail on that and, take it seriously, because these types of experiences can really launch your career in ways that are not possible if you don't get your foot in the door. Especially in like harder to get into areas like, let's say, sports nutrition or private practice. Just as like a couple examples, it's important that you, even this process of getting the experience is, just as important as like getting into a program or that first job. It all is kind of like the same idea. It's also such a small field that, people like, it's not like you want to just make it so that you give yourself the best chance is really what I'm saying. And, don't give up if you do get no's, because dietitians are really busy, and sometimes it just is not the right time to, and it's not anything you did, but it just might not be the right fit or the right time. All right, so to summarize here, this is kind of like a summer bucket list, because I know you all will be heading into summer break, hopefully, and I want to make sure that there's some action steps here for this, how to get experience so that you can line up some really awesome experiences. So number 1 is to read the Dietitian Dream Jobs ebook, which I put the link in the chat box. Then create a contact list. I suggest 50 people. I think 50 is really good to try to get 2 or 3 experiences, or at least options for experiences. And then develop your pitch email, rock your interviews, gain your experience. And some people, you might reach out now, but then they might say, oh, I'm not taking anyone now, but follow up in 6 months. Follow up in 6 months, keep track of all of that, have something on your calendar, a reminder to just stay on top of all of your connections, because like I said before, it might just be timing that's the issue, and you want to just keep that relationship going, even if the timing's not right. Okay, so then you don't need to do this alone. As a reminder, if you remember, I said that the first step in the admissions process is assessing your current experience and skills, and then figuring out a plan of how to fill those gaps strategically so that you can stand out and tell your unique application story. And if you are interested in getting more information, definitely check out Dietetics Admissions, because this is our coaching that gives you all of that support. It helps you write that pitch email. Your coach will also help you with your resume and your LinkedIn profile so that it stands out. They'll help you find contacts so that you can get these experiences that not only can help you become more competitive, but they'll help you gain skills that you would need as a future dietitian, and also just expand your network and possibly be something that can launch your career in like a dream job or a dream area that you're interested in. So much of your career development really starts as a future dietitian. So dietetics admissions coaches are available to help you with that. Not only will they support you, but give you that roadmap and the accountability with the ultimate goal of getting into that top choice program that you want. So if you are thinking about it, I want to say that there are 3 different types of applicants that we've helped, that it kind of falls into these 3 buckets. So I'm curious like which one you are. So the first one is you might just want to save time on this process, or you have a deadline that's approaching, so you want to move quickly on it. This means like you just want to be really efficient. You want less stress because you have a lot going on. So that's one reason, and one kind of like persona of our admissions clients. And then number 2 would be, I want to change careers into dietetics. So if you are coming from a background not in nutrition, but you want like the best strategy, you want to have the least amount of time put into this and money, then a dietetics admissions could definitely be for you, because we can help you make that transition in the most effective way possible, and also use your experience in your other career to sell you. And then the third type of person would be someone that really wants to have that high level of one-on-one support, whether that is if you have a non-nutrition background, if you're an international student, or you just want that personalized support beyond what you might get from an advisor or another dietitian or someone. If you want to work with that expert and have them guide you throughout the whole process, then that's kind of like the other type of person. I think at minimum, we spend 10 hours of individualized support with our coaching clients, whereas most students will get a couple hours from their advisor in that high level, like personalized mentoring, coaching, reviewing materials, helping you write things, that whole world. So again, we can help you with that. There's customized programs now available, and I would encourage you to check it out on the website. I'll just drop it in here for those of you that are here live. But, I think that that's just something that we've done now, I guess, 13 years. And we just see how if you have the knowledge and if you have like the support behind you, you can get so much more done and accomplish so much more and set yourself up for great success, getting into your top choice program and launching your career in the way that you want with the help of a coach. So I invite you to check it out and learn more. And then you can also, if you are interested, apply, and then you can set up a call with our enrollment coach to talk through it more and see if it fits with your goals and with what you want to do. But no obligation if you do apply. You're not obligated to enroll, but you'll be able to schedule that call. So I'll drop the link in there. And that is it for today. I kind of just talked. I didn't see any questions come in, but if you have any questions now, I'm happy to stay on here for a couple minutes. Yeah, feel free to let me know. I hope this was helpful. And again, we'll send you the slides and the recording probably tomorrow. It'll be in the inbox in case anyone came in late, but I hope this helps. Okay, I have a question here. I recently graduated with a major in nutrition. I've been having a hard time looking for a professional job. I see a lot of jobs hiring for dietitian, but nothing that only requires a nutrition degree. Yeah, so I would probably be looking more at like job titles, like maybe wellness coach or nutrition assistant or nutrition coach, maybe something maybe more in wellness as opposed to medical could be good. Just because on the medical or clinical side, it will require the RD. So maybe it's in how you're searching or like the industries you're searching, where you could try to find something that's more on the prevention or community side, as opposed to the clinical side. So that would be one suggestion. The other might be getting the DTR if you're interested in working in clinical, or getting your health coach certification, which I know would be an investment, but if you're not trying to be an RD right now, that would be a good thing in between that has a lot of jobs currently. So that would be my suggestion there. And then just trying to, we have I'm trying to think of where it is. Well, in our application toolkit, we have a free application toolkit with materials specifically on your resume, just to make sure your resume looks really good. Because that might be another reason you're not getting attention on that. So I'm going to drop that in here as well to grab that. Oops, hold on. I direct messaged someone. Here we go, everyone. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Feel free to chat them in. Or if you have any questions on dietetics admissions too, I'm happy to answer that. Again, it is custom packages, all at different pricing now. It's changed, and payment plans and everything are available too. And we've helped over 2,200 applicants with our admissions coaching. All right, great. I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you everyone for attending tonight. And I hope that, you took a lot of good notes and got a lot of information. I know I talk fast. I've been talking about this now for 15 years. I just want you guys to have as many of the facts and strategies as I could possibly share in, under an hour. So thanks for riding along with me. And I hope you found it helpful. I hope you guys have a good rest of the night, and I hope to see you at a future event.